You don't have a life problem. You have a mouth problem, and the Bible already warned you about it. Hey guys, guess what? It's Apostle Watson Word of Wisdom Part 2. Man, let me tell you, I already did this morning's video, and Proverbs 18 being my favorite chapter, and I'm like, it is too good to not do a second video. Instead of doing this video tomorrow and us extending our time of Apostle Watson Word of Wisdom by going through one chapter a day through the book of Proverbs, I thought, man, I got to share this now, because this morning we talked about Proverbs 18, 21, or 20 and 21 through, Proverbs 18, 20 through 21. I'm getting so excited, I'm tongue-tied, where it talks about that man satisfied by the words, basically, that he speaks. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it will eat its fruit. But do you know that Proverbs 18 talks so much more about words than just those two verses? And I'm going to touch on each one of those real quickly. If you go all the way back to verse number 4, it said, the words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. You know, your words are like a deep water. They're like water that flows out of you. It either brings life or it brings death. And you know, that sounds a lot like the book of James that says that with our mouth we bless God, but with our mouth we curse men. And how salt water and fresh water should not pour forth through the same spring. And you know what? Today, can I tell you that your mouth, the words that you speak, are like deep waters of either saltiness or freshness, to not only those who hear it, but to yourself. You know, you ever hear people say, man, that dude's just salty? They can tell because of his words. But guess what? It doesn't just stop there. Verse number 6 says, a fool's lips bring strife, and his mouth calls for blows. Listen here, y'all. Did you know? We just talked about how strife begins in the heart the other day, and how, I think it was actually yesterday, how whenever what stops the argument is what you meditate on within your heart. And you know how a lot of fights and strife start? It starts in the heart, but then it's triggered by what people speak by their mouth. Somebody else say something that sets somebody off, or somebody says something that sets you off. It's because in those words, there's life and there's death. And it says a fool's lips bring strife. So the depth of the deep waters that come from your mouth, if they're foolish, if they're salty, if they sting a little bit, it brings strife. It also says in verse 7, a fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. Listen here, a wise man restrains his lips. He's not captured by, he's not ensnared by the words of his mouth. His mouth, a wise man's words bring life to him and to those around him. But the lip of a fool, of one who's unwise, guess what they do? Their life comes to a ruin. And that's what it says. Matter of fact, it even goes down in verse 13. It says, he who gives an answer before he hears it, it's folly and shame to him. Y'all, these words, not only what we're speaking, but how we speak them and the timing we speak them. There's a reason why it says in James to be slow to speak and slow to anger, but quick to listen. Isn't that what verse 13 of chapter 18 says? Is that if we answer a matter before we hear it out? How many of us are wanting to answer and speak concerning? How many of us listen to respond than listen to listen? And that's a foolish thing, because it gives you the opportunity to speak before you hear the entire matter. And it actually allows a foolish word to come forth, which brings your life to ruin. It is folly and shame to you to do so. So we're talking about life and death being in the power of the tongue. And it's not so much that the words you speak are life and death, but how many of us are giving an answer prematurely? How many of those of us are speaking a word that might even be true, but we're speaking at the wrong time, and it brings strife to those around us? So guys, I think the word of wisdom for today is watch your mouth. We are creating problems in life and issues with life by what we're saying. I think it was yesterday in chapter 17, I may be incorrect, but it says that even when a fool keeps quiet, he seems prudent. It's maybe today, I think I'm going to give this word. I think it was Ryan Lestrange shared this on his Facebook yesterday, and I'll close with this. He says, maturity is understanding that you don't have to speak to everything. Maturity is being silent. Maybe today you don't have to give an answer. You don't have to defend yourself. Maybe today the Lord just wants you to be quiet and let him be your defender. Where there's no wood, there's no fire. When you speak, you don't give fuel to the fire. Is your life on fire? Maybe today's your day just to be silent and let God fight all your battles. God bless you. Hey, let's be wise people. Let's watch our words. Let's be silent. Let's be quiet and speak at the right time. Amen. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.